You're putting me with Cole Mercer? The housing director looked up from her laptop like I'd just complained about the weather instead of being assigned to share a room with the most talked about guy on campus. Temporarily, Mason. Temporarily sounded fake. Temporarily sounded like the kind of word adults used right before ruining your life for 3 weeks. I stood in the doorway of the residential life office with my backpack cutting into one shoulder, rain still drying on my jacket, trying not to look as panicked as I felt. There has to be another room. She gave me that tired smile people use when they've already decided not to help you. Your floor had a pipe burst. Most students are doubled up. Cole has the only open bed in West Hall. My stomach dropped. West Hall was loud, old, and full of people who treated every weeknight like a dare. And Cole Mercer wasn't just some random roommate. Everyone knew Cole. Black hoodie, motorcycle helmet under one arm, bruised knuckles sometimes. A reputation that followed him into rooms before he even opened his mouth. I'd seen him around campus enough times to know he didn't look at people so much as through them. It's only until maintenance clears your room. She slid a key card across the desk. Try not to overthink it. That was funny, because overthinking was basically my major. By the time I reached West Hall, my chest felt tight under my wet shirt. The elevator smelled like burnt popcorn and cheap body spray. Somewhere upstairs, guys were yelling over a basketball game. I kept telling myself it was fine. I was 21 years old. I could share a room with a guy for a few days. Even if that guy looked like trouble in human form. Even if he was exactly the kind of guy I usually tried very hard not to stare at. The key card beeped. I pushed the door open. Cole was already inside. Of course he was. He sat on the left bed with one boot on the floor, one knee bent, headphones resting around his neck. His dark hair was messy like he'd run a hand through it too many times. A black sweatshirt hung loose on his shoulders. He looked up slowly, and for 1 second, neither of us moved. His eyes went from my backpack to the box in my arms, then back to my face. You're the flood guy. Not hello. Not welcome. Just that. I cleared my throat. Mason. I know. That hit me weird. It shouldn't have. People knew names. That meant nothing. I stepped inside and looked at the room. 2 beds. 2 desks. One narrow space between them that suddenly felt way too small. His side was messy, but not dirty. Mine had a bare mattress, a metal chair, and a closet door that didn't close all the way. Perfect. They said this was temporary, I muttered. Cole pulled one headphone off his neck. They always say that. Great. Amazing. I set my box down too hard, and something inside rattled. Cole's eyes flicked to it. I waited for a joke. A comment. Anything. Instead, he stood, walked past me, and shut the door because I'd left it half open. He smelled faintly like rain and mint gum. I hated that I noticed. Rule 1, he said, leaning back against the door. Don't touch my stuff. Wasn't planning to. Rule 2, if you're going to bring people over, warn me. I almost laughed. I'm not exactly throwing parties. His mouth twitched, barely. You look like you alphabetize your socks. I don't. Pause. Not anymore. That got something close to a real smile out of him. Quick and gone before I could decide what to do with it. My face warmed anyway. Stupid. Completely stupid. Cole moved back to his bed and picked up his phone. Then we'll survive. I nodded like that settled everything. Like my pulse wasn't still moving too fast. Like I hadn't noticed the way his voice dropped on survive. I started unpacking on my side, keeping my back to him because it felt safer. But a few minutes later, when my phone charger slipped off the desk, Cole caught it before it hit the floor. He handed it over without looking at me for too long. Our fingers touched for half a second. Nothing happened. Obviously nothing happened. It was just a charger. Just a room. Just a temporary arrangement with a guy everyone warned me about. But when I looked up, Cole was already watching me. And the room went quiet in a way that didn't feel temporary at all. By the second night, I had already learned 2 things about Cole Mercer. 1, he did not talk unless he had a reason to. 2, he noticed everything. I try not to make that weird. I really did. I kept my side of the room neat, studied at the library until closing, showered when I knew he was out, and climbed into bed facing the wall like that somehow made me invisible. It should have been easy. We were roommates on paper. Temporary roommates. Nothing more. But Cole had this annoying way of being quiet without feeling absent. I could always tell when he was there. The soft click of his lighter when he stepped onto the tiny balcony. The low sound of his music through one headphone. The scrape of his chair when he shifted at his desk. He never blasted music after midnight. Never brought anyone over. Never made a mess on my side. Honestly, it was inconvenient how considerate he was. People had made him sound like a disaster with a student identification card. Instead, he was just there, careful in ways that made no sense. On Thursday night, I came back from the library close to 1 in the morning, half dead from reading the same paragraph 6 times. I expected the room to be dark. It was not. My desk lamp was on, dimmed low, pointed toward the wall so it would not hit Cole's bed. He was asleep, or pretending to be, one arm thrown over his eyes. I stood in the doorway longer than I meant to. The light was not an accident. My side of the room was the only side it helped. My chest did that stupid tightening thing. I told myself he probably forgot to turn it off. That was safer. The next morning, I found a coffee on my desk. Black, no sugar, from the campus cart near the humanities building. I stared at it like it might explain itself. Cole was sitting on his bed, tying his boots. That yours? My voice came out too careful. He glanced up. You drink that, right? Sometimes. You looked dead yesterday. I blinked. That is not usually a reason to buy someone coffee. His mouth curved a little. You want me to take it back? I should have said yes, or made some joke that killed the moment. Instead, I wrapped both hands around the cup, because it was warm and because I was weak. No, then drink it, Reed. He called me Reed like it was easier than Mason. Like we had some kind of thing already. We did not. Obviously. Later that afternoon, I was unpacking the last box when the bottom gave out. Books hit the floor with a crash, papers sliding everywhere. Great, I muttered, crouching down. Cole looked over from his desk. You always fight with cardboard. Only when it starts it. I reached for my psychology textbook at the same time he did. Our fingers brushed across the cover. Not even a real touch. Barely anything. But both of us stopped. His hand stayed there. Mine did too. I could feel the heat climbing up my neck before I could stop it. Cole looked at our hands, then at me. For a second, his face was unreadable. Not cold. Not amused. Just focused. Like he was trying to figure out why neither of us had moved yet. I pulled back first. Of course I did. Thanks. My voice sounded weird. Too quiet. Cole handed me the book, slower than he needed to. You scare easy. I do not. You do. He leaned back on his heels, eyes still on me. But not with the stuff people think. That landed somewhere I was not ready for. I forced a laugh and stacked the books too fast, pretending I had no idea what he meant. Because I did not. Or maybe I did. And that was worse. That night, I lay in bed facing the wall again. The room was dark except for the orange glow slipping through the blinds from the parking lot. I thought Cole was asleep until his voice came from the other side of the room. Low, almost careful. You know I am not going to mess with your stuff, right? I opened my eyes. I know. Or you. My throat went dry. I stared at the wall like it had answers. I did not think you would. Silence stretched between us. Then his bed shifted softly. Yeah, he murmured. You kind of did. I wanted to deny it. I wanted to say something normal. But nothing came out. Because he was right. And the worst part was, I was starting to think I had been wrong about him in a lot more ways than one. By Friday afternoon, I was almost used to him. Almost. That was the dangerous part. You start adjusting to someone's silence. You learn the sound of their keys in the hallway. You notice which hoodie they wear when they are in a bad mood. You stop flinching every time they look at you. And then someone outside the room reminds you that you are supposed to be afraid of them. It happened outside the dining hall. I was walking back from class with a paper cup of terrible campus coffee in one hand and my phone in the other when Tyler Banks stepped in front of me with 2 of his friends. I knew Tyler in the way everybody knew Tyler. Loud. Rich. Always laughing like the world was built for him personally. His eyes flicked to my West Hall key card clipped to my backpack. No way, he grinned. You are really rooming with Mercer? I tried to step around him. Temporarily. Man, good luck. One of his friends laughed. His last roommate lasted, 2 weeks? My stomach tightened. I hated that it worked on me. I hated that part of me still wanted details. Tyler leaned closer like he was sharing something important. Just do not leave anything valuable out. Or personal. I frowned. What is that supposed to mean? Nothing. His smile got worse. I am just saying guys like Cole do not exactly come with references. I should have ignored him. That would have been smart. Instead, I stood there holding my coffee like an idiot, feeling heat crawl up my neck. Then Tyler looked past me, and his face changed. Not a lot. Just enough. Cole was behind me. I did not hear him walk up. Of course I did not. He had one strap of his backpack over his shoulder, jaw tight. eyes flat in a way that made everyone suddenly remember they had somewhere else to be. You got something else to say? His voice was quiet. That made it worse. Tyler laughed once, but it came out thin. Relax, man. We were joking. Cole did not move. Funny. The silence stretched. People passed around us, pretending not to watch. My pulse was beating hard in my throat. Tyler finally lifted both hands and backed away. Whatever. See you around, Mason. The way he said my name made my skin prickle. Cole watched them leave, then looked at me. You okay? I wanted to say yes immediately. I wanted to act annoyed that he had stepped in. But the truth was, my hands were shaking a little, and Cole saw it before I could hide them. His expression shifted. Smaller. Softer. Reed. I hated how my name sounded when he said it like that. I am fine. You are squeezing that cup like it owes you money. I looked down. Coffee had leaked onto my fingers. Great. Cole took the cup from my hand without making a big deal out of it and tossed it into the nearest trash can. Then he pulled a napkin from his backpack. Not a tissue. Not some dramatic gesture. Just a folded napkin from probably yesterday's takeout. He handed it to me. Our fingers did not touch this time. For some reason, that felt worse. You do not have to do that, I muttered, wiping my hand. Do what? Show up like my personal bodyguard. His eyes stayed on mine. I did not like how they were talking to you. My chest tightened. People talk. Not like that. There was no joke in his voice. No smirk. Nothing I could hide behind. I looked away first because I always looked away first. We walked back to West Hall without saying much. But the silence felt different now. Heavy, but not empty. When we got to the room, I dropped my bag by the desk and finally turned to him. Is it true? Cole paused by his bed. Is what true? Your last roommate. Did he transfer because of you? For a second, I wished I could take it back. Cole's face closed up so fast it felt like watching a door slam. He looked down at his hands, then let out a short breath. He transferred because he kept using my stuff, bringing people in at 3 in the morning and telling everyone I was some psycho when I got sick of it. I went quiet. Oh, yeah. He pulled his hoodie off the chair and folded it once, hard. People like a better story. I did not know what to say. Sorry felt too small. Cole glanced at me, and the hurt in his eyes disappeared almost immediately, like he had trained it to. You believed it? That landed worse than Tyler's joke. Because part of me had. Maybe not all of it. But enough. My throat felt tight. I did not know you. You still do not. He grabbed his keys from the desk. For a second, I thought he was leaving. Then he stopped at the door without turning around. But you could stop letting everyone else decide for you. The door clicked shut behind him. I stood there in the middle of our too small room, staring at his empty bed, feeling like the worst part was not that Cole had walked out. It was that I wanted him to come back. Cole came back almost 2 hours later, soaked from the rain and pretending he was not mad. That was how I knew he was. He opened the door quietly, dropped his keys on the desk, and avoided looking at me like I had become part of the furniture. I was sitting on my bed with my laptop open, but I had not read a single word since he left. The room felt smaller when he was not talking, which was stupid because Cole barely talked anyway. Hey. My voice came out rough. He paused by his dresser. Hey. That was it. One word. A wall. I closed my laptop. I should not have asked you like that. Cole pulled a dry shirt from the drawer. His hair was dripping onto the collar of his hoodie. It is fine. It is not. He finally looked at me. Not angry exactly. Just tired. People ask worse. That does not make it fine. The rain tapped against the window behind him, soft and constant. Somewhere down the hall, somebody laughed too loudly, then a door slammed. Inside our room, everything went quiet again. Cole rubbed the back of his neck. Why do you care, Mason? My name. Not Reed. Mason. My chest tightened immediately. Because I live with you. His eyes stayed on mine. That is not what I asked. I should have looked away. I usually did. But something about the way he stood there, still wet from the rain, still trying to act like none of this mattered, made me tired of pretending for 1 second. Just one. I care because I do not think you are what people say you are. Cole stared at me. The air shifted so fast I felt it in my stomach. His face did not soften all at once. It happened slowly, like he was deciding whether he trusted the words enough to let them in. You sure about that? His voice was lower now. No, I swallowed. But I want to be. He took 1 step closer. Not much. Just enough that the narrow space between our beds felt even narrower. That might be worse. Why? Cole gave a short laugh with no humor in it. Because people usually like the idea of me until they get close. I stood before I could think better of it. Maybe they were not actually trying to get close. That shut him up. For a second, neither of us moved. The rain kept going. My pulse got loud. Cole looked at me like I had said something dangerous, and maybe I had. Then his eyes dropped to my hand. I did not realize until then that my fingers were curled tight around the edge of my hoodie sleeve. His hoodie sleeve, technically, because at some point during the week I had borrowed it when the laundry room dryers broke and never gave it back. He noticed. Of course he noticed. You kept it. Heat climbed up my neck. I was going to wash it. That was not a complaint. His voice was quiet enough that I almost missed it. Almost. He reached out, slow, like he was giving me every chance to step away. His fingers caught the loose drawstring hanging near my chest and tugged it lightly, fixing the knot that had come undone. It was nothing. A stupid piece of string. But his hand was so close I forgot how to breathe. His knuckles brushed the front of the hoodie. My whole body went still. Cole noticed that too. His eyes lifted to mine, and the room dropped into this strange, suspended silence. Not awkward. Not exactly. More like both of us had reached the edge of something and were trying to decide who would move first. Mason. It barely sounded like a warning. I whispered, yeah. He looked at my mouth. Just for half a second. But I saw it. I knew I saw it. My heart hit so hard it almost hurt. He leaned in a little, or maybe I imagined it. Maybe I leaned first. I honestly do not know. The space between us got smaller. Too small. Then someone banged on the door. Cole. You in there. We both jerked back like we had been caught doing something illegal. Cole shut his eyes for 1 second, jaw tight. I turned away fast, pretending to adjust the sleeve, pretending my face was not burning. What? Cole called, voice rough. We are heading out, man. You coming? He looked at me. I looked at the floor. The moment was gone, but it had left fingerprints everywhere. No. Cole answered after a long pause. Not tonight. Footsteps faded down the hall. Neither of us spoke. Cole stepped back first. You should get some sleep. I nodded, even though it was barely 9. He grabbed a towel and went toward the bathroom, but before he closed the door, he stopped. For the record, he murmured, not looking at me. You make it really hard to keep distance. Then the door clicked shut, and I stood there wearing his hoodie, realizing he had not denied anything. The next morning, Cole acted normal. Too normal. That was how I knew the night before had not been nothing. He woke up before me, showered, changed, and left for class with a quick later, like he had not almost closed the space between us in the middle of our room. Like he had not said I made it hard to keep distance. Like I had not spent half the night staring at the ceiling, replaying the way his fingers touched the drawstring of his own hoodie while I was still wearing it. By lunch, I had convinced myself I was overthinking. By 2, I had almost believed it. Then I walked into the campus bookstore and saw him. Cole was near the back aisle, leaning one shoulder against a shelf, talking to a girl I recognized from one of the student offices. Blonde ponytail, big sweatshirt, pretty in that effortless way that made me immediately feel ridiculous. She reached up and brushed something off the front of his jacket. Cole did not move away. My stomach twisted so hard I almost dropped the notebook in my hand. Which was insane. Completely insane. Cole was not mine. He was barely my roommate. Temporarily. That word again. Temporary room. Temporary closeness. Temporary whatever happened last night. I turned around before he saw me and walked straight out of the bookstore like a normal person who was not suddenly mad at a guy for standing near someone else. I made it all the way to the quad before my phone buzzed. Cole, you just left? I stared at the message. Then another one came in. You look like you saw a ghost. I should not have answered. I did anyway. Needed air. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then nothing. Great. Perfect. By the time I got back to West Hall, my mood had settled into something ugly and embarrassing. I was halfway through pretending to study when the door opened. Cole stepped in, took one look at me, and stopped. You were doing that thing. I did not look up. What thing? Acting like you are fine when you are clearly not. I turned a page too hard. Maybe I am just studying. Your book is upside down. It was not. I checked anyway. Cole's mouth twitched, but the smile disappeared fast. Mason. There it was again. My name, soft enough to make me weaker and angry enough to hate it. Do not. He shut the door behind him. Do not what? Do not say my name like that. The words came out before I could stop them. Cole went still. For 1 second, I thought he might step closer. Instead, he stayed by the door, jaw working like he was holding back 10 different answers. Like what? I stood from my desk because sitting made me feel cornered. Like you know me. His eyes sharpened. I am starting to. Are you? I hated how bitter I sounded. Because sometimes you act like this means something. And then sometimes you act like I imagined the whole thing. Silence. Cole looked away first this time. That should have felt like winning. It did not. This is about Jenna. I blinked. Who? The girl at the bookstore. Heat rushed up my neck. No, his expression said he did not believe me for a second. She is my cousin. My brain stopped. What? My cousin. She works in financial aid. Her ex has been bothering her, and she asked me to walk her to her car after shift. I felt every ounce of attitude drain out of me at once. Oh. Cole let out a quiet breath. Yeah. Oh. I looked down, ashamed and relieved and annoyed at myself for being both. I did not know. You could have asked. I did not exactly have the right to. That made him quiet. Too quiet. When I finally looked up, he was watching me in a way that made my chest hurt. Not smug. Not teasing. Careful. Why did it bother you? I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. Because the honest answer was sitting right there between us, huge and obvious and impossible to touch. It bothered me because I wanted to be the person he looked for in a room. It bothered me because last night had felt real. It bothered me because I had started sleeping better with him 3 feet away. But I said none of that. Cole took one step closer. Slow. Mason. My voice barely worked. I do not know. He looked at me for a long second. Then his eyes dropped to the hoodie I was still wearing. His hoodie. I had forgotten again. The corner of his mouth lifted, but it was not quite a smile. Yeah, he murmured. You do. Before I could answer, voices passed outside the door. Tyler's voice, loud and laughing. Mercer got himself a little roommate now, huh? Someone else laughed. Maybe Reed finally tamed him. My whole body went cold. Cole's face closed off instantly. The softness vanished like someone had flipped a switch. He stepped back, creating space that had not been there a second ago. Do not listen to them. I wanted to say I was not. But Cole was already grabbing his keys. I need air. The door opened, then paused. He did not turn around. And Mason? My heart kicked once. Maybe you should stop wearing that. People talk. Then he left, and for the first time since I moved in, the room felt too big. I stopped wearing the hoodie for exactly one night. That was all I managed. I folded it and left it on Cole's desk like it was not a big deal, like it had not smelled like him and laundry soap and rain. Like giving it back did not feel weirdly personal. Cole did not say anything when he came back. He just looked at it, then looked at me, and for once, I could not read his face at all. After that, the room became polite. Not hostile. Worse. Polite. He stopped leaving the desk lamp on. I stopped buying extra granola bars because I knew he skipped breakfast. He came in late, showered, slept. I studied with my headphones on even when nothing was playing. It was almost normal. It was awful. 2 days later, I got caught in a storm walking back from my evening shift at the campus mailroom. No umbrella. No jacket. Just me, my backpack, and the kind of rain that goes sideways. By the time I reached West Hall, my shirt was stuck to me and my hands were shaking so hard I could barely swipe my key card. Cole was inside, sitting at his desk. The second he turned around, his whole expression changed. Jesus, Mason. I tried to laugh. It came out weak. Weather app lied. He was already up. You are soaked. I noticed. Change. His voice had that firm edge again, the one that made arguing feel pointless. I dropped my backpack by the door and reached for my drawer, but my fingers slipped on the handle. Stupid. Tiny thing. Still, Cole saw it. Of course he did. He crossed the room, pulled a dry sweatshirt from his closet, and held it out. Not the same hoodie. A gray one this time. Softer. Older. Here. I stared at it. Cole. Put it on. You told me people talk. His jaw tightened. For a second, rain hit the window hard enough to fill the silence for us. Then he looked down at the sweatshirt in his hand like he hated what he was about to admit. Yeah, I know what I said. Then why are you giving me that? He let out a breath, rough and quiet. Because you are freezing, and apparently I am terrible at pretending I do not care. My chest pulled tight. I forgot what I was supposed to do with my hands. Cole still held the sweatshirt between us, but his eyes were on mine now. Tired. Frustrated. Honest in a way that scared me more than his reputation ever did. I was not trying to make you feel stupid the other night, he added. When I said people talk. I swallowed. It kind of worked. His mouth flickered like that hurt. I know. He stepped closer, just enough to lower his voice. I panicked. That word did something to me. Cole Mercer, the guy everyone thought did not care about anything, standing 3 feet away from me and admitting he panicked. Why? I already knew I should not ask. I asked anyway. Cole looked past me toward the door, then back. Like the answer was there. Like he could walk out of it if he wanted. He did not. Because when they said that stuff in the hall, I realized people were noticing. Noticing what? He laughed once under his breath, but there was no humor in it. Do not make me say it if you are going to act like you do not know. My pulse started pounding. The room felt too small again, but this time I did not want space. I wanted the opposite, which was the problem. I am not acting. His eyes dropped for a second. Not to my mouth this time. To my hands, still shaking slightly from the cold. He reached out, slow enough that I could move away. I did not. His fingers wrapped around mine, warm and careful. Not dramatic. Not possessive. Just there. My breath caught, so obviously I wanted to disappear. Cole's thumb brushed once over my knuckles, like he was testing whether this was allowed. I did not hate it, he murmured. My voice barely worked. The hoodie. He looked at me then, really looked at me. Any of it. The rain kept hitting the glass. Somewhere outside, somebody shouted and laughed, distant and muffled. Inside, neither of us moved. His hand was still around mine. Mine was still letting him. I thought you wanted distance, I whispered. Cole's face shifted, and for the first time, he looked almost scared. I thought you did. That landed right in the center of me. All the careful silences. All the stepping back. All the pretending we were both doing for the other person's sake. I let out a shaky breath, half laugh, half something worse. I do not know what I want. Cole's hand tightened just a little. Yeah, he said softly. Me neither. It should have been disappointing. It was not. Because he did not let go. Because his eyes stayed on mine. Because for once, the confusion was not only mine. Then his phone buzzed on the desk, breaking the moment just enough for both of us to remember where we were. He glanced at it, ignored it, and handed me the sweatshirt with his free hand. Change before you get sick. I took it, but he still had not let go of my other hand. Cole. His thumb moved once more across my knuckles. Barely there. Just for another second. So I stood there in the middle of our room, soaked and shivering, holding his sweatshirt against my chest while he held my hand like he was not ready to go back to normal either. For about 12 hours, I let myself believe we had crossed some invisible line and survived it. Cole did not say anything big after that night. Neither did I. But the room changed again. Not loudly. Just enough to make my chest feel warm in stupid places. He left the gray sweatshirt on my chair instead of taking it back. I bought 2 coffees the next morning and put one on his desk without looking at him. He noticed. Of course he did. Trying to bribe me, Reed? I shrugged, pretending my heart was not doing anything weird. You looked dead yesterday. His mouth curved. That is my line. It should have felt easy. Maybe that was what scared me. Because by Saturday afternoon, maintenance finally emailed me. My old room was cleared. I could move back Monday morning. I read the message 3 times in the hallway outside our door, and somehow every word felt wrong. I should have been relieved. My own space. My own closet. No more pretending not to listen for Cole's breathing in the dark. No more wondering what his hand holding mine meant. No more almost moments with a guy everyone on campus already watched too closely. I walked in and found Cole sitting at his desk, pencil between his fingers, not writing anything. He looked up. You okay? I held up my phone. They fixed my room. Something passed over his face so quickly I almost missed it. Almost. Then he leaned back, casual again. Too casual. That is good. My stomach sank. Yeah. You get to escape West Hall. He spun the pencil once. Congrats. I laughed because I did not know what else to do. It sounded terrible. Escape. Right. Cole looked back at his notebook. That was it. No pause. No question. No, do you want to stay? No, I do not want you to leave. Just congrats. The words sat between us like a door closing. For the rest of the day, he acted normal in the worst possible way. He went to the gym. Came back with takeout. Asked if I wanted fries. I said no even though I did. He tossed the bag on my desk anyway. Usually, that would have made me smile. This time it made my throat tight. By evening, I started packing the things I had barely unpacked. Books. Chargers. The extra blanket from the housing office. Cole was on his bed scrolling through his phone, but I could feel him watching whenever I turned around. You do not have to help, I muttered, folding his shirt badly. Was not offering. I looked over. He was not smiling. Right. The silence got sharp. I shoved another book into the box, harder than I meant to. Cole sat up. What did I do? That made me stop. Nothing. Mason. I hated when he used my name like that. Like it gave him the right to reach under my skin. You seem fine with it. His brow tightened. With what? Me leaving. The second I said it, I wanted to disappear. Cole stared at me like I had just handed him something breakable. Then he looked away, jaw flexing. I thought that was what you wanted. I let out a breath that almost turned into a laugh. Why would you think that? His eyes came back to mine, darker now, guarded. Because you have spent 2 weeks acting like being near me is something you are trying to survive. That hit too close. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out fast enough. Cole stood, slow and tense. Forget it. Cole. No, it is fine. He grabbed his keys from the desk. You should go back to your room. It will be easier. For who? He stopped at the door. His hand stayed on the handle. For a second, I thought he might finally say it. Whatever had been sitting in the space between us. Whatever had made him hold my hand and ask for another second. But then voices passed outside, loud and laughing, and Cole's shoulders pulled tight. He remembered where we were. So did I. For both of us, he said quietly. The door shut behind him before I could answer. I stood there beside the half-packed box, wearing his sweatshirt again because I had apparently learned nothing, and realized the worst part was not that I was leaving. It was that Cole thought letting me go was the right thing to do. I was halfway through packing when I realized I was doing it wrong. Not the boxes. Those were fine. Books in one. Clothes in another. Chargers tossed into my backpack like I did not care. I meant the leaving. I was doing the leaving wrong because I was doing it quietly. Like if I made it easy enough, neither of us would have to admit it hurt. Cole came back a little after midnight. His hoodie was damp, hair messy from the rain, keys loose in his hand. He stopped when he saw me sitting on the floor beside the half-packed box instead of sleeping. You are still up. I looked at him. Really looked this time. I am not leaving because I want to. His face changed. Just slightly. Like the sentence hit before he had time to block it. He shut the door behind him, slower than usual. Mason. No, my voice shook, but I kept going. You do not get to say my name like that, and then disappear. You do not get to hold my hand, and then tell me going back to my old room is easier. Cole stayed by the door. Too far away. Always too far when things mattered. His jaw worked once. I was trying not to make this harder for you. I laughed under my breath. It sounded tired. You did a terrible job. That almost got a smile out of him. Almost. Then it vanished. He looked down at the floor between us. You were scared of me when you moved in. Yeah. And now? I swallowed. My hands were resting on my knees, fingers curled tight. Now I am scared of leaving. The room went quiet. Cole did not move for a second. Then he crossed the space slowly and sat on the floor across from me, close enough that our knees almost touched. Not quite. He was always giving me space. I was starting to hate how much I loved that. I thought you would regret it, he admitted. His voice was low, rough around the edges. All of this. The room. The hoodie. Me. My chest hurt. Cole. He shook his head once. People like the version of me they make up. Then they get close and decide I am too much trouble. His eyes lifted to mine. I did not want to watch you do that. I did not answer right away. Not because I had nothing to say. Because the right words felt too big, and I did not trust myself with them. So I reached across the small space instead. My hand stopped halfway. Stupid. Nervous. Cole looked at it, then at me. He did not tease me. He did not rush. He just turned his palm up. Waiting. I placed my hand in his. His fingers closed around mine like he had been trying not to do it all night. I am not them, I whispered. His thumb moved once across my knuckles. Same as before. Softer this time. I know. Do you? He held my eyes. I am trying to. That was the most honest thing either of us had said. No big speech. No perfect answer. Just two guys sitting on the floor in a messy dorm room, surrounded by boxes, pretending a little less badly than before. I took a breath. I do not know what this is. Cole's mouth twitched, sad and fond at the same time. Yeah, me neither. But it is not nothing. His fingers tightened around mine. No, the word came out immediate. Certain. It is not nothing. My heart started pounding again, but not from panic this time. Cole looked at our hands, then back at me. I did not want you to leave. The sentence landed quietly. No drama. No music. Just him finally saying the thing I had needed to hear. I let out a breath I did not realize I had been holding. Then why did you tell me to? Because I am an idiot. I laughed, small and shaky. Cole finally smiled. A real one. It made him look younger. Softer. Like the guy under all the rumors had been standing there the whole time, waiting for someone to stop running. The hallway outside went loud for a second, someone stumbling past, laughing. Cole glanced at the door. I felt his hand start to loosen. Not much, but enough. This time, I held on. His eyes snapped back to mine. Do not. My voice was quiet. Do not let them decide for us either. Cole stared at me like that hurt in the best way. Then he nodded once. Okay. And for the first time since I moved into that room, neither of us pulled away. By Monday morning, the room looked almost empty on my side, and somehow that made it feel more honest. My boxes were stacked by the door. My old key card sat on the desk. Cole was leaning against his bed with his arms crossed, watching me pretend to check the same drawer for the third time. You know there is nothing in there, right? I looked down at the empty drawer. Could be a sock. You packed your socks like 20 minutes ago. Maybe I have secret socks. His mouth curved, and just like that, the room did not feel like it was ending. It felt like it was waiting. We carried the first 2 boxes down the hall together. People stared. Not everyone. Not dramatically, but enough. Tyler was near the vending machines with his friends, and I felt Cole notice him before I even looked. His shoulder went tense beside me. Old habit. Mine too. Tyler smirked. Moving out already, Reed? Mercer scare you off? A week ago, I would have laughed it off. 2 weeks ago, I might have believed him. But that morning, I looked at Cole first. He was watching the floor, jaw tight, like he was ready to let the comment pass if it made things easier for me. That bothered me more than Tyler ever could. So I shifted the box against my hip and reached for Cole's hand. Not secretly, not accidentally, just reached. His fingers froze for half a second when mine slid between them. Then he held on. Solid, warm, real. Tyler stopped smiling. Nobody said anything for a moment, which was honestly the best sound I had heard all semester. Cole looked at me, surprised in a way he tried to hide, and failed completely. You sure? His voice was low enough that only I caught it. My heart was beating too fast, but I nodded. Yeah. His fingers tightened around mine. Not much. Enough. We kept walking. No speech. No announcement. Just the 2 of us carrying a cardboard box down a hallway, while people had to figure out a new story about us without our help. My old room looked exactly the same when we got there. Same desk. Same bed. Same ugly blinds. Same quiet that I used to think I wanted. Cole set the box down and glanced around. This is depressing. I laughed. It is called minimalism. It is called prison with a laundry basket. I should have unpacked. Instead, I stood there with him in the middle of the room, feeling the distance already trying to grow between us. Different buildings. Different routines. No forced reason to see each other at midnight. No desk lamp left on because one of us came home late. No gray sweatshirt hanging over my chair unless I chose to keep it there. Cole seemed to feel it too. His hand brushed mine. Gentle, not quite holding yet. So, he murmured. Now what? I looked at him. The guy everyone warned me about. The guy who bought me coffee and pretended it was nothing. The guy who held my hand like he was afraid to want something and wanted it anyway. I picked up the gray sweatshirt from the top of one box and tossed it onto my bed. Now you stop acting like this room means I am gone. His eyes softened. Yeah. I swallowed, then forced myself to be braver than I felt. And maybe tonight you come over. We can eat terrible dining hall fries and pretend to study. Cole's smile started slow. Pretend. You are not exactly great for my focus. He looked away, but not before I saw the color rise in his face. That did something dangerous to my chest. 8. I nodded. 8. He moved toward the door, then stopped. For 1 second, I thought he would leave it there. A plan. A maybe. A careful little almost. But Cole turned back, walked across the room, and took my hand again. No hallway. No audience. No one to prove anything to. Just us. I was serious, he said quietly. I do not want to go back to normal. I looked down at our hands. His thumb moved over my knuckles, familiar now. Still new. Good, I whispered. Me neither. He smiled then, small and real, and let go only because he had class, not because he was hiding. That was the difference. Looking back, I used to think being forced into Cole Mercer's room was the disaster. The bad luck. The thing I had to survive. I was wrong. That room did not trap me. It gave me nowhere left to run from what was already happening. And sometimes, I guess that is how the best things start. Not with a perfect confession, not with the right timing. Just two people standing in a too small space, pretending everything is temporary, until one of them finally reaches for the other and does not let go.